So yeah, recording is started.
Okay.
And so 1 second. And that's gonna be our agenda. That's our agenda. As I said, we'll wait 4 more minutes, let the people join, and then we're gonna start. So we will start kickoff in 4 minutes. Yeah, introduction.
Open your microphone, discuss about, yeah? Hi, how are you, Elvin Abi? How are you?
Yeah. That's...
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah. Nice.
Hi guys. Good morning.
Good
or maybe
evening.
good afternoon, I don't know.
I think Zoom made a bit of changes, so I guess that's why it's a bit taking time to people come in and join. But yeah, we'll have some introduction. We invited them. We have special guests for Tech Academy's field. We'll let them briefly introduce themselves and give us what they would like to learn from Kamran mainly, and then Kamran will have the presentation. It will be around 45 minutes, and then we'll have 5 minutes break, and then Q&A discussion. In the Q&A discussion, you will see the link that it will point to Word document, and you can write in advance the questions there, and Kamran will try to cover, and then we'll wrap up. And that should be it for today's agenda.
I saw Mr. Ramin Orija join us.
Yep.
Hi Ramin, how are you?
All right.
Okay, no problem. Okay, maybe we started, yeah?
Should we start? Because it will be recorded anyway, so people can actually watch it later on, right? Let's not waste Kamran's time also.
Okay, sure. Let's I think the one admitting, because there are a couple of logistics of the slide I want just everybody is aware of and not to go back and repeat, but yeah. Let's just wait for 2 minutes because I think that's a perfect time. I'm gonna start. There is no more excuse to be more than 10 minutes late. Hi, Kamran, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine. Maybe we can start with the introductions about the people who are here.
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's go for it. Okay. So yeah, it's a joint effort between expertech and GOUP and Vurgun Hacıyev. You see the co-host. Yeah, please, Vurgun.
Hi everybody. Cameron, thank you very much for expertech is Tech Meetup service, bring IT professionals together. It's only non-profit community. The platform we use only interesting about how grow up technical ecosystem. It's only non-profit community. It's join us more. Most of people, technical people, is global, local in Azerbaijan, global USA, Netherlands, it's most of European countries. Shaku and I see next stage we make a very interesting meetup about how make community. It's very our local is very interesting that. Okay, Shaku, please start.
Yeah, thank you, Vurgun. So just Vurgun is CTO currently is ATL Tech. He's currently in US Silicon Valley part, and they're trying to open branch of their company. And yeah, and me also, I'm DevOps engineer at startup here in California based called OpenGov. It's helping the government for the financial and budgeting solution and ERP and all these more cloud for government. So, and the GOUP, I would like to briefly talk about the GOUP. So I was the first guy in last summer who get the Google Summer of Code, if you heard, the Google's stipend for open source project. That was it. That was my first experience. That's the time I wanted to share that experience, because unfortunately in 17 years from the original where I am from, Azerbaijan, there was no lack of basically information, just these kind of programs to share with the people in school and stuff. So I wanted to share, but then I couldn't find the community or the audience to share and to go to broader and say, hey, there is this kind of thing. And I decided, I said, okay, and after getting a couple of rejects, I said, okay, maybe we can come up with something that platform where we can, the people who doesn't have community, we can give them access to Zoom, YouTube, and Slack, and all this stuff that they don't have to go through all the hassle, build the community, build, and then do some work, but they can come and contribute and whenever go back and do kind of accelerator for open source project. That was the main idea. And it started a year ago, and it was mainly, we did these kind of webinars in Azerbaijan language, but the slides in English you'll see in GitHub, and we were using. And then we said, okay, it's not fair for the rest of the people who doesn't speak English. It's unfair competitive advantage for the people who speak Azeri. So we decided to go and make it in English and bring people like Kamran.
Maybe who speak in Azeri, please talk in Azeri, we translate in English for camera. It's no problem.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the main motivation. And thank you for Kamran accepting our invite. And it's the idea for the GOUP, all these projects are under, it's open source, and we want to build a community culture, which is egoless, collaborative, competitive, decentralized, scalable, fun. That's the main thing, the way we see. And we want information within community be structured and indexed. So it's, we are not owning this project. It's more like anybody can come and take the piece of that. So that was about the GOUP. And yeah, and we want to know you, and please go to that link. I guess how many people? 34. We are, I think, in a good shape. So please go to that link.
Saku, looks like they are pending connections. So Sabir is asking to accept pending connections. Can you please do it?
Yeah, sure. I'm admitting in my second screen. I'm gonna put it also in the chat, guys. Please go to that link, and we want to keep the logs, and we will everything is gonna be in GitHub. And so basically here, mainly the point the camera gonna touch, and we have the links. And please write your questions here. In the end, Kamran will go there and go through it. And we, unfortunately, in the Google form, we forget to ask you where you're from. It's really, we want to know which country you are in and joining, not the nation, but the country you are in. It's really interesting for us. And please add your as attendees and like that, and your name and the LinkedIn. Please, let's go there and as a community, connect to each other, to know each other more better. And once we go out and we do some sharing in the LinkedIn and Twitter, it will help us to tag you and say, hey, yeah, we are together. So please do that part. And yeah, and that's also, we have it's open source is our response to COVID as a community, as a people. I guess you agree that currently even people, a lot of layoff going, especially in US. I know that it's in the history, there was no such amount of the people lay off. So that's our answer to COVID-19 also. And if you have no prior experience, go for open source. If you're still at school, go for open source. You want to switch to tech, start from open source. You're bored at home, you want to come online like that and 12 a.m. in the night or 11 in the morning, you want to know great people like Kamran, come and do open source. That's our response.
So it's great. Maybe more people will see this open source projects.
So yeah, that's our response. And yeah, I think photo shoot time. That let's do the photo shooting, and let's see if we can make it bigger. If you can, please turn on camera and smile. Maybe
Okay.
we'll share this in the social network, so I guess hopefully it will be fine. But yeah, if you don't mind, let's put it bigger. Turn on your camera. Yeah, so should we still wait for the people? Everybody's there. Can you?
Yes.
I think we should start. I think we should start.
Yeah, let's take. Okay, let's. 1 second. Oops. Oops.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, let's smile.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Okay.
Super.
We did it. Perfect. Code of conduct is simple. Language is only English. Yeah, please welcome. You can take. Yeah.
Okay.
So we are here to collaborate, learn, benefit, and contribute. We are all equal. Whatever role you have, accomplishment, no marketing, no selling, no competing. Build with love, push with sugar, pull with caution. So that's our code of conduct. And Cameron, please intro.
Yes, so for me, I'm Kamran. I'm basically from Pakistan, and I'm working here in Dubai as an engineering manager at a startup called Tradeling.com. And mainly we are doing the B2B commerce platform. And I have worked mainly in the startups. And more, I think, is on the next slide.
Yeah. So before, yeah, I
Before
think,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess before passing to Cameron the floor, we would like to special guests briefly each the academies. I don't know how many of them were able to join at this point of time, but it's based on alphabetical order. Plus, yeah, let's each one briefly talk what you would like to hear from Cameron today. So, yeah, please. We're gonna, I guess.
Sure, but I mean, Cameron is speaking, or we should ask. We should talk about.
First, let's special guest. Let's let you ask when Cameron speak. He will consider all these points.
Sure, sure. I can start if it's okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I am also co-founder of Tech Academy, as all of you guys know. So we launched Tech Academy because to support IT ecosystem of Azerbaijan. I've been meeting a bunch of startups and stuff, but they had problem of hiring engineers because there wasn't enough engineers in Azerbaijan. So I've been teaching like for a while. I've been teaching IT like from my young ages. So my question to Kamran will be, so when I launched this Tech Academy, I've used to contribute to open source long time ago, but I had experience, right? These young kids who just learn, because I've been doing my best to help young kids to start contributing to open source, but nobody accepts their accepts their merge requests because like these are young, they don't know how to contribute, and they don't have experience, right? How young kids who just start can start contributing to open source? What will be your advice?
I think you have to be really picky with the project if you're a beginner, because if you go and you look at the projects and if there is something that is 5 years old and nobody, like they're not accepting the pull request, there are 100 pull requests open, and you open a pull request in there, you're definitely not going to be accepted. So you have to be very careful, like what you're going to pick and what you're going to contribute with. So first of all, look at the issues, look at the contributor, how active is he in the issues? When was the last pull request merge? When was the last commit? So you have to look at this stuff and start small. So for example, do a couple of commits in the documentation, fix some typos. So in the beginning, what I used to do was like I used to use Grammarly. So what I would do was I would just go and pick up the documentation, put in there, fix some of the typos, and just open a pull request.
That is very smart.
So this is how you could start. I mean, start with something small, like the people can accept, and then grow from there.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we can go up to next. Ramin, you would like to please intro and based on the ITCT Academy.
Hello from Zagatala.
Oh, nice.
I am co-founder of ITCT Academy. I have training experience more than 10 years. So for the junior developers starting from scratch, they almost ask the same type of questions. And almost everyone underestimates the importance of foundation, core algorithms, data structure. So I try to persuade that you need strong foundation, you need algorithms, you need data structures, knowledge, otherwise you will fail. Maybe not in next few months or on your next job, but you will definitely fail when you want to become stronger developer, more senior developer. So start with basics, start with data source algorithm. So how do you persuade young starters, juniors, that algorithm is really important? So because almost I got questions that I want to learn Java or Oracle because I heard that Java developers are being paid well. So I just want to learn Java only, no algorithm, no data, only Java.
So for me, I think it's different. If you just go with, like, if you go and tell someone, like, go and learn the algorithms and data structure before you pick something else, so the beginners might be confused. So the people I know, for example, in my company and in my, around, like in my circle, the people I know, most of them are like in the web and they don't know anything about the data structures and algorithms, and they're still making good money. The data structure and algorithms are good. I mean, they definitely make you a good developer if you're going to excel better in your career. But like getting a job, I don't think you really need to start with the data structure. So you just, for example, if you're going to do the web development, start with HTML, CSS, build some couple of projects. So you have something solid to look at. That, I mean, you just get inspired by that and then you can continue with that. So I think getting the output first is like the first thing. So build something that has the output, and then like the beginners can be inspired to do more, and then learn and keep learning the algorithm and the stuff while you're learning. Like starting with this, I mean, it could be boring because data structure and algorithms, they're exciting, but for some, but boring for most of the people. So this is how I would say, like, get them to start, show them like this is the output that you have built, and then they can continue learning with the data structure and algorithms.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramin.
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
I want your hiring methodology.
Hiring methodology, it depends upon the role that we have. So,
yeah.
So for example, right now we're hiring as well in my current company. If anybody, I mean, wants to join. So the way I look at
special referral discount.
So it depends upon the role that we're looking at. So if it is going to be like junior to mid-level, we mainly look at the attitude. How is the attitude of the person who is going to be joining us? How they are good for taking feedback, and how they are, I mean, open to learning new stuff and stuff like that. If we're looking for the senior developer, we look at, I mean, we start with the technical, the past projects, what they're doing in their free time, like how are the recent projects and so on.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And let's see, from Ingress Academy, I guess, Ruslan, you are here. Yeah. Ruslan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm also here. I'm Imran from Ingress.
Hi.
You guys
to speak from Ingress Academy.
Yeah.
Hi to all.
Probably, I don't know if Ruslan have any questions, but I have one. Basically, Ingress Academy was founded about 6 months ago, and we are doing a lot of stuff like microservice development, DevOps, and etc. What we are doing internally is right now, rather than teaching stuff that people can learn in YouTube, we started doing some projects internally, and I'm using my microservice development students as the contributors. And now we want to open these products as SaaS services in cloud. And after that, when these people leave the academy, I want to open some of these projects as open source And my main question is, how should we keep people interested in these projects? And how, in case of the company, you know that you have managers and etc. to push the people to do the work. But in open source, that is just a voluntary contribution. And how can we entice the people so that they can still keep contributing to these projects? So this is the main interesting part for me.
I think the people have to know like the benefits of the open source for being active in the open source. I think if they know, like if you incentivize that, like their contributions, for example, promote them, like this is the contribution from this person. So this is what I do. For example, if you look at the release notes, you mentioned like this person did this. So it's just not you. I mean, you're promoting the other people who are contributing as well. So this is one way. And the other thing, I mean, if it is just, I mean, as you said, like the beginners, then I mean, I think telling them about the open source benefits and showing them, I think this is more important to keep them motivated to do more open source stuff.
Yeah, one interesting part, let's say if you have a release and we need to deliver some features, if it is a company, we can push people, but if it is open source and these people don't deliver, how they handle this release management and etc.
I think in the end, it comes down to the maintainer itself. I mean, people, you can't rely on that, on the contributors. I mean, contributors are going to be there. It's good if they contribute, but in the end, it's your project. I mean, you own it. It is your responsibility to manage all of this stuff.
Okay, one more question. How many people usually maintain these open source projects, and how do you review their code and etc.? What is the main indicators that you take into consideration when you review their code?
So I touch on that in the slides also. So
okay.
I will discuss later, like how you do that.
So thank you so much for that information.
Yeah, sure.
Welcome.
Ruslan, do you have anything to add? What Imran said? Any questions?
No, for now, no. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Welcome. And I would like to also I see Roshan is also here, another co-founder of the GOUP, which my partner in crime. So Roshan, please, you can introduce and ask any questions you have. And can you hear us, Roshan?
Yeah, sorry, hello guys. I'll ask my question later.
Sure, yeah. Sure. And any others, sorry, oops. Any others we forget? I guess Samir, he's not joined yet. Samir Karibov from the Pragmatic, he's supposed and study academic Rasim, supposed to join, but I don't see them. So hopefully in case they come later, they can ask their question later. So Kamran, floor is yours. Thank you so much, all our academics. We really love all our academics, and that's the people really going back, taking this experience and making the impact. That's we really appreciate and really happy that you're able to join and ask your question. And we really think that with you, this open source we can take it to the next level. Thank you so much. Yeah, please come on. I'm gonna stop sharing, and I guess you can.
Sure.
Stop sharing. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, please.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for having me, for giving me the opportunity to speak here. So first of all, about me, I am working as an engineering manager at Tradelink.com. So Tradelink is the business-to-business platform, like in this region for the Middle East and stuff. And I am also working as an instructor at egghead.io. So Egghead is quite famous, like they make video tutorials and the courses for the developers. So I'm working there as an instructor. I've been working mainly in the startups. So most of the experience that you see from me in the open source, it is mainly I have gathered in the work from the open source. And I am not coding since I was a kid. I started coding when I got the admission to into my graduation degree in 2010. This is when I wrote my first Hello World. And I love building stuff and teaching, and I'm quite active in the open source and community. you might know me from some of the open source projects. So developer roadmap is the most famous one. It's among the top 12 projects out of the 200 million repositories on GitHub. Then I have a couple of other projects that I'm really proud of also, like the design patterns for humans is it's a quick document on explaining the design patterns for the developers and so on. And I also write the articles, and I recently started them. I'm making these pictorial explanations to the complex topics. And I have a couple of them on roadmap.sh. You might have seen them. And what are we going to cover? So I have these roadmaps, but nobody knows my roadmap, like how I got into the tech, how I started from zero to, where I am today, and what were the steps, what helped me and what did not help me. So we're going to cover that. I will learn like why you should be doing open source, and I will also share like how you can find ideas and how you can grow your project and reach more people out there. So my first computer was Pentium 2. We bought this in 2001. My parents brought me, but I didn't use it for anything else than playing games and like making stick figure animation in Flash. So these used to be my favorite games, Virtual Cop, if you have seen that, like Dave and Mario. So I was mainly using this stuff. So I was not doing any programming. So a lot of people say that I've been coding since the beginning. I was coding when I was 8 or 9 years old. So it's good, but you don't have to be coding since you're a kid. So my first program was in 2010. I wanted to do electrical engineering. I didn't know like I was going to do software engineering. I didn't even have any idea like what the software engineers do, because I'm basically from Faisalabad, so it's a small city in Pakistan where there are not many people in the IT. There are not many software houses. So I didn't know like what the software engineers do. So I accidentally got there because I was not able to get admission anywhere, and then I got the admission into the IT, and then I just started doing that. But then I did good. I was the gold medalist of the batch. I got around 3.76 CGPA and 87% of the marks. And my first computer program was in C++, in Turbo C. I used to do that a lot. So in the beginning of the semesters, I was just, first few semesters, I was doing what I was taught at college. So it was mainly the C++, and it was not one of the best universities of Pakistan that I learned from. There was not many guidance. So I found myself a coding buddy in my class. At the end of each college day, we used to just share with each other the challenges. So to make the pictures like this, so we would just share like make this, and I will make this also. And the next day in the morning, we used to like compare the code that we used to write. I used to think that I'm doing really productive, but it was meaningless. I used to think it was meaningless because in the end you're just making these diagrams. You're not making something of value. So I was confused, like what I'm going to do, like how am I going to make money from these small boxes that I'm making in the CLI. I didn't have any direction because at that time there was no developer community. The GitHub was introduced in 2008, but it was not that common. I think it got picked up in 2013-14 when a lot of developers started getting there. So I didn't know any place like where I have to go. So I just started doing random stuff. So I did some graphics designing. I went to the YouTube. I just learned I watched some tutorials, and I learned how to make the logos, how to make the charts and stuff, how to make the banners. And I started learning that, and then I just kept on looking at the stuff I wanted to learn. For example, if I have Android phone, I would just wanted to learn how to make the app for Android. So I would just pick up and learn for it. Then in the university, we had, in all the laptops and the computers, we used to have a virus. Whenever we would attach a USB, it would just remove turn everything into the shortcuts. So I learned how to make desktop application, and I make an application for that in C#. And then I started learning because I used to love playing games. So I started learning how to play games, how to make games. And then I learned how to make game in Unity 3D. So you can see, I was doing random stuff. I was not like focused on, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just kept doing stuff and whatever I wanted to do. So I wasn't still sure, like, how am I going to get the real job? Like what people do after they graduate, what do they do? How do they get the job and stuff like that? And I did not know, like, I am learning all of this stuff, but I'm not sure, like, if I'm doing it the right way or the wrong way. And how do the people do outside? And then whatever I was building, like all these softwares the applications that I was building, it was on my desktop, and I would just share it with the people that I know in my class fellows, and that's it. I did not have a community or the people who I was sharing it with. I was just keeping it in my laptop, and then eventually when the Windows or the computer got formatted, everything was gone. Then I got I came across GitHub. So I learned that it is like Dropbox. So you can put your code in there and it stays there for some time. So instead of just, for me, this was important, like not losing the stuff that I was building. So I started using it for that. So I just put everything on there. So I had the university assignments and stuff. So I had a lot of code base on my computer. So I put all of my assignments onto the GitHub and I just posted on Facebook, like going open source, which was not really open source because it was just, I mean, me pushing the code as a code hosting. So I started using GitHub for that. And then I started building stuff also. So I was just putting all my university assignments and all the random experiments that I was doing, like the projects like this and the stuff like that. I was just putting that on GitHub and then sharing it with people from there instead of sending them the email, the code base manually. And also I started putting my freelance work, which we should not be doing. So I just put every freelance work that I was doing also onto the open source. It was less of an open source, more of a code hosting for me, as I said. And still, I was building stuff, but nobody was caring. I mean, nobody was coming and starting the project. Nobody was forking. It was mainly me starting it, and also like some of the projects going to start it, and that's it. But I still kept publishing and making stuff because I was using it, as I said, for the code hosting, not for the open source. But then I built this PHP geocode. So it was a library that used to give me. So you should give it the address, and it would give you like the details for this address, like what is the country where this address is, what is the city. So it would just give you a data structure that would have all these details for an address. I think that I thought at that time like the code is really good, which it was not. I thought it was good because I was not looking at what others are building, how the modern way of developing thing is. It was good in my eyes. I mean, people think what they're doing is good. I mean, the less you know, the more you think that you are good. The more you know, then you know that, I mean, you're not that good. So because my circle was that small and I was thinking that I'm doing really like super stuff, nobody can compete me and all of this stuff. And then someone posted it on somewhere and it got 100 stars and around 30 forks on GitHub. And somehow like someone opened a pull request. So this was the first pull request that was there. So before that, it was this. You can see that I don't have the git ignore. I didn't know much about the git. I didn't know what the tests are. I didn't know like how to do the linting and code sniffing, and I didn't follow any standards and all of this stuff. So this person opened a pull request. He added the test cases. He added a couple of badges in the README. He added the like sniffing. He added the he did the refactoring of the code base and stuff like that. And from this one pull request, I learned a lot. I mean, I got to know the power of the open source. I found out like how little I knew. And this single interaction taught me all of this. And after that, all the projects that I was making, I was reaching out to people for their feedback, and I was just looking at the projects that other people were building, and I was just learning it from there. And from this interaction in the open source, it helped me. I think it was one of the driving factors in taking me where I am today. And then I continued building. If you go on my GitHub right now, I have around 65 projects on GitHub. All of them are not public. So I have around 97 in total, which are private as well. So the stuff that I build, I have an idea book. So whenever I have something in my mind, I put this on my GitHub. In this idea book, I have this Trello board where I create a card for this. So it is filled with like hundreds of ideas. So whenever I have some time, I just go there and pick something from there and I just build it. So it could be something that I have in mind. I want to make it open source for others to use. It could be just some silly idea that I want to learn from. It could be just a proof of concept, or I just solve my own problems or write on my blog for other people. So the most recent project that I built, it's Itomate. So I am a heavy item user. So I was just scratching my own itch. So like whenever you start the day, so the first thing that you do is you go and pull in all of the projects. And then, for example, you start this project, this. So you start like 4 or 5 repositories, and then you start coding. So I wanted to automate this. So I made this project for my own self, and then I posted it somewhere like on Reddit, and then it got picked up. I found out that the others also wanted this, and then it has around 195 stars in 1 week. After that is Git stand-up. So this is to show you the power of open source. So when I made this, it was just my idea, and my main contribution was just the source code and the basic idea. I build this. So most of the companies, they have the daily stand-up, right? So whenever they start the day, they just get together and they discuss what someone did and what they're going to do today, and if they're blocked on something. So my main idea was to automate this. So I wrote this one command. So you could do like git stand-up in Go and run in one project, and it will show you like all the commits from your last working day. So that's it where it was. But if you look at this now, like 32 people contributed to it, and this idea that started from one command, now it has like 15 options, and it could show you like you can modify the output in several ways. And my most famous project, that's why we are here. So the developer roadmap. So it is among the top 12 repositories. So there are around 200 million repositories on GitHub, and this is from the top 12. It has around like 104,000 stars and 17,000 forks on GitHub. And to me, like what's most exciting is not the stars. What's most exciting for me is like I made something and people came and they just decided to click the star button, and they found this useful enough to like click the star or fork button. And the people, I mean, they just keep sharing with the others. I mean, this is more exciting for me. When I made this, at that time, I picked the name Developer Roadmap because I went on the GitHub. I saw that there was no roadmap. There was no project with this name, so I called it Developer Roadmap. But if you now go on GitHub and search for the roadmap, you will see that there are 1,000 repositories with the term roadmap. So people started building roadmaps like computer science roadmap, the machine learning roadmap, data science roadmap. So there are a lot of roadmaps on there. I learned a lot from this as well. So I got to know like what am I missing in my knowledge. So people started contributing. I kept improving it. So I've been maintaining it from 2017. So this is the third or fourth release. So every year I go and I update it with the recent, like in the progressions in this state. And I got to meet a lot of people, and it has also helped me like grow my network with the people. And this is how I met you guys, right? The Sako and Virgon and all of you guys. So this is also like one of the good things. So let me show you quickly like what the roadmaps are and tell you a little bit about. So the first thing that I tell to everybody who I share this link with is you don't need to know any of it. You don't need to know all of it, not any of it. You don't need to learn all of it. You just have to start with the basics. So if you go into the roadmap.sh, I have this roadmap that could be used for all of the people. So this is the roadmap that you have. Pick a project and start working on it. So whenever you want to build something, all you have to have is just a project. Just pick a project, start learning, start working on it, and you will learn all along the way. I think where I am today, it was mainly because I was just picking up random stuff, learning it, and I was just experimenting with stuff. So I was not just going and watching YouTube videos and just like, I have learned it, that's it. So the important thing is making the projects. So this is like the introduction. So this is the stuff that you have to know for all of these roadmaps. You need to know the basic version control. You need to know the terminal user and all of this stuff. And then you have like the front end in here. So the purple items are the ones that are must know for all the items. This reddish one, the greenish ones are the alternative options that are also there, but I do not prefer them. I prefer the purple one. And then there's this one, like the grayish one, which means that I would not recommend this. And this is that it is optional. You can learn anytime later on also. The first thing is the internet. It doesn't have to be this. There could be more stuff, there could be less stuff, but I just mentioned it because off the top of my head. Then you have to pick HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Then you have to learn Git. So again, you don't need to learn all of this. So just pick HTML, CSS, JavaScript, that's it, and just start building. And then all of this stuff, maybe learn Git, and then you can continue building and just taking from there. So this is what the front-end roadmap is. So just pick this stuff and start making projects, and then you will learn all along the way. And then
for the content, do you also consider the UI UX part, or it's?
I haven't mentioned here. I know a lot of people who don't do UI UX or UX at all. They just learn how, they just know how to translate the designs into the code, and they don't even have a design sense. I think it's important to have the design sense for the front-end developers, but I mean, I know a lot of front-end developers who don't know any UI UX. And also, I think there's something that you can build also. For me, I go to Dribble. Whenever I have something, I just go to Dribble. You will see here, like in my history, Dribble tags. So whenever I'm building something, I just go to the tags checklist and I learn from there. I mean, I pick something like how the people are doing it. I pick some section from some design, the other section from some other design, and so on. I mean, I think what I mean is like you can learn this stuff all along the way. Like you can, but this stuff, I mean, this is technical, right? So this you have to actively learn. Those stuff you can pick passively and you can keep learning while you are at it. So this was the front-end roadmap, and then I have the back-end roadmap. In the back-end roadmap, what you need to learn is, so this is more of a general. So it's not like front-end, because back-end there are multiple options. So you could pick PHP, you could pick, for example, Go, Node.js, or you could pick anything. So I made it to be generic, and I have mentioned like you need to pick a language. So it could be one of these languages, and then I have mentioned all the stuff that you can, that are not specific to one of the languages, so that you can pick and apply to any language. And again, from here, the stuff that you need to learn is pick a language from here. I mentioned JavaScript here. It doesn't have to be JavaScript. I mentioned JavaScript here because of the job market. So it's one language and there's a lot of jobs. So you can, if you learn JavaScript, you can do front end, you can do mobile, you can do desktop, you can do anything. So mainly because of the JavaScript and the job market, I mentioned JavaScript. And then all of the stuff, I mean, you can keep learning. Again, pick a language, learn a database, and build some application, maybe a CRUD, like a contact management or something like that. And then rest of the stuff you can keep building and learning as you go. So this is it. And then for the DevOps, so DevOps is quite a complicated one. For this, I'm not really a DevOps guy. I'm mainly a full stack guy. For this one, I had help from the community mainly, and I know a really good guy here who I met in Germany. That was the person who sketched it out for me, and he was the one who contributed with this, and then I improved it also what I think is based on my experience. So this was mainly built that way. From here, I think what is important is just picking a language, which you picked already from here, and then maybe like learn all of this stuff, what this is, about the caching, reverse proxy, forward proxy, load balancer, firewall, and then just pick Docker from here, Ansible, and then just pick AWS, and I think that's it. And then the rest of the stuff you can keep doing while you're at it. So this mainly for the DevOps. Again, this DevOps is like a global one. It is not targeting some specific region. So for example, if you look at Pakistan, in Pakistan, there is more PHP. There's not, I mean, not many people are doing like the modern way of doing stuff. So it depends upon the market that you're in. So look at the market that you're in, go to LinkedIn, go to, for example, Indeed or anywhere, look at the jobs, look at the nature of the jobs that people are posting, and modify this roadmap according to your needs. So you don't have to religiously follow all of this listed here. And also the order is not important. I mean, you can spread them around. The first few things I think is important, like learning the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and learning Git. And after that, I mean, it's up to you, whatever you think is important, and you can keep learning. And also don't be afraid of all of this. Like most of the stuff here, like package managers, you can learn it in a couple of hours, 1 or 2 hours. So it looks massive, but it really is not. A lot of stuff like NPM scripts, linter and sniffing and all of this stuff, you can learn in a couple of hours. So don't be afraid of all this. I mean, all of this stuff. And I also recently started, the YouTube channel. I don't have anything yet there, but I am going to cover all of this. So you can also find it here. It's going to be free, I mean, without any ulterior motives. So I joined Egghead. Egghead is paid. I wanted to make it like free for the people, and that's why I have it. So this is it for the roadmap. If you have any questions for the roadmaps, I mean, I can answer now or we can answer later. Taco.
I have a question.
Yes. Okay, we continue.
Who is that? Sorry, who had
Do we continue or do you have any questions in the roadmap?
No, you can continue. I think if nobody says anything, you should continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, why open source? So I showed you all of my projects and stuff, but why do I do open source, and why you should be doing open source also? So I think as a beginner, if you're a beginner, it's the best way to get the feedback on your work. So for example, you open a pull request on someone's projects. So there's what I did. I mean, in the beginning, I opened a pull request in like a couple of projects, and people give you the feedback, like if you're doing it the right way or the wrong way. You don't know if, I mean, if you're working all alone, you don't know if you're doing things the right way or the wrong way, as I said before. When someone's open a pull request in your project, or you open a pull request in someone else's project, people tell you, like, you get free mentorship from the people. Like, for example, I know people in, for example, you know someone in Google, or you know someone in React, or you know some really famous developer. So you go look at his projects, open this pull request in some of their projects, and you can have them as a free mentor. They can guide you, like, this is what you did wrong, and this you could improve. So there's the first thing. And second thing is, for example, if you know stuff, even if you're an expert, you should be doing open source, because this could act as a proof that you really know stuff, you really know what you're doing. And the third thing is, like, you put yourself out there, and you learn from the what others are building. So for example, whenever you can look at the projects that you're using on a daily basis, you look under the hood, and you get to know, like, how it is built, and you learn from it also. Like, you don't learn just by watching tutorials and stuff. You learn mainly more by also looking at what others have built. So that's what I do in my free time. Like, I go to GitHub, and I just search for projects, and I just look at the code base that they have built, and I just learn from it. And then you get to meet amazing people. I have met so many people mainly because of the open source, and it has been all thanks to this. I mean, I have made connections. I mean, I have met people in the Google. I met people. I have met authors of the books, and it's mainly because of the open source. You make something, people find it useful, they will reach out to you and stuff like that. And we should be, I think we should be more than the consumers. A lot of people are consumers, and 90% of the developers that I know, they don't do open source. They don't do like the side projects. They don't do anything. They just go, they do 9 to 6. They work at what they're doing in the office, and that's it. Out of the office, they don't have any interest in the coding. They don't have anything. I think you should have some project of your own. You should be more than just a consumer. You should contribute and give back to the community as well. For me, I give back to the community because I think it has been really helpful for me in helping me grow and learn, and that's why I built stuff. And I think I owe it back to the community as well. And also, I think most of the projects that people do, it's crud. Like, for example, you're working from 9 to 6. You're working at a company for around 2 to 3 years. So what you're doing, so you go to the office, you do the same stuff from morning to evening. You go to the next day, you do the same stuff again. So it's mostly just the crud stuff. You're not building some super exciting stuff. So have a side project, always have a side project, and do more than just building the crud applications. I mean, this is how you learn. And that's it. This is why I do open source. I mean, other than the open source, it is not just all free stuff. There are people who have built like the full-blown businesses around open source as well. So this is some guy called Mike Perham. So he made this Sidekick. So it's a project. It's available on his GitHub profile, and he's making around $80,000 per month from this project. So he made this, and then he just put the pro versions, like the pro features, into it, and the pro version is paid. And I recommend you to watch his the interviews and look at his podcast, and you will learn like how he grew this project from like $0 to where it is today. He's making like $1 million per year.
I think the biggest one is a Linux Torvald that I think Linux Foundation is paying in a long run. That's,
I mean, that is something like really, I mean, big. But I mean, this person, I mean, nobody knew also, right? So I'm saying that, for example, you don't have to be really famous. You could be someone working in a small town and somewhere in Azerbaijan or Pakistan or whatever it is, and you can still build something like the whole world is open to you, and you can monetize it still. I mean, for the developer roadmap, I had offers to, I mean, sell it. I had so many offers to, like, people wanted to contribute to it as a, like, they wanted to put their stuff as the paid courses and stuff. I didn't do it because I didn't want to, just because my main audience is the beginners, and I didn't want to like recommend stuff that I don't think are good. But I had, I mean, offers also. So open source opens up a lot of
Come on,
doors.
if not a secret, how much they were for the developer roadmap, kind of, yeah, how much they were ready to pay?
We didn't come to the conclusion, so I will not disclose that.
Yeah,
but
what's the range in general? What's the starting range?
A 5-figure. It was 5-figure.
Huh?
5-figure.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Like, it's, let's say $500,000, whatever, but that's, for example, yeah, but it's, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that, I mean, if you are after the money, there's a lot of money in the open source also. There are many people who are doing this stuff just from the open source. The second case study is Insomnia. He's a really nice guy. I had a couple of interactions with him. So he built this Insomnia. If you look at the website, if you don't know already, so it's like Postman for developers, like to test the APIs. So it was not always open source. So it was a paid software. I have been following his progress. Like when he built this in the beginning, he had a series called Transparency. So he was sharing all his revenue streams and all of this stuff. So he was not making much from it. As you can see here, there's $0. He didn't earn from it anything here. And then he just kept building. And then he decided to open source. Before that, he was saying that the growth is declining and he was feeling burnout because he was all alone. Nobody else was contributing to it. So he was doing all by himself. And then he made it open source, and then it got picked up by the community, and people started adding features. That people started adding, like, he was not alone in building that. And then it got to the point where I think he was making around $20,000, I think $25,000 per month from this project. And you can find it on here. So he has around 13,000 stars on GitHub. Then it got acquired by the Kong. So Kong is quite famous. It's US-based startup. And they acquired it, and I mean, now he's working for them. So this was also like from the open source.
I know that the guys, the CTO and stuff, the Kong, they're based in original from Italy. They're here in San Francisco. So what they do is they just take the others' work and adding stuff and kind of making it so they don't come with zero. For example, the Kong API management, it's on top of Nginx. So. Yeah. The main point is you don't have to really come even with your project, and you can also take the existing one and start adding on top of that if the product is good.
I mean, there are many companies. There's not only Kong. Kong is just one. I mean, they had this big acquisition, but there are many companies who do this stuff. I mean, they go to the open source project, the famous ones, and they find it useful. They just acquire it. There have been many case studies. I will share with you a link where you can read more about it. And then there's a Sputty. So it's a web design agency. So they do work. I mean, like it's agency that does the development, and their main business is mainly driven by the open source work. So they have around 279 projects on GitHub that are open source, and their main way of working is like they build packages. If you're doing PHP, you're probably using one of their packages. I mean, they're that big into the open source. And I was reading a couple of interviews, and this is how they drive like their work. I mean, this is how they get the business, all from the open source. And if you're more interested, there is a website called Indie Hackers. So you can go and you can learn from here also. This is mainly the developers, like who are earning from their side projects. So they build stuff. And it has a lot of projects, but I would suggest you to go and look at the verified revenues, and people are sharing like how much they are making. So look at this person. Like he's making $45,000 from just a side project. So, I mean, you can build something and you can earn from it because the world is open to you. Nobody has to know you, and you can still, I mean, make something. So one of the projects I wanted to show you is Tetra.
I know Tetra or no?
Tetra.
No.
So I know this project when it was launched. So I am quite active on Product Hunt. So the day it was posted, I know. So this was one developer who built this in Laravel. On the first day, I was looking at the website, and when you clicked here somewhere, it was throwing you even the exceptions. And actually, I started messaging him. He had a pop-up here. I started messaging. He was active by himself. I talked to him like, how did you build it? And he was saying that he built it in Laravel, and he was all alone building it and all of this stuff. And now if you look at his revenue here, Indie Hackers. this is his monthly revenue now. $62,000 per month. And this is verified revenue. It's not a fake number, it's verified by Stripe. I mean, this person, I know him because I saw his product on Product Hunt and I sent him a message like, the idea seems stupid to me. I mean, it might be good for some people, but for me, I think that it was basic like a wiki. There are 100 other projects and he was one developer building it and he just built it and he just published it. The important thing is like you build something and you put it out there. The people might come. People would come. People might, it's not might, people would come.
After event, I joined open source platform.
So this is one case. So I go through these. So they have a couple of interviews also.
That's what I was telling to also Wurgan, that we knew that open source is good and stuff, but we didn't know that point that Kamran is pointing, that now we just gonna go double after open source.
The open source is not just about the free stuff. I mean, you can earn from it. So this person also, like he's the founder of Indie Hackers. So he was one developer also. I read his story, like how he built it. I would share his interview also. He had interview with the Hacker News or the Y Combinator. So how he started and how it got to the point where it is today. So he has a very nice story. Like he was also one developer. He built this all alone with his brother maybe. And then it got acquired by the Stripe. So this was about that. And the next thing is like how to contribute to open source project. So a lot of people that I know, they mainly don't do open source. One of the excuses that come up is like, I don't think my code I can add value. So people think that they can't add value. So I think that everybody who has something, who knows something, they can add value for someone. So for example, I have a brother. He's just got the admission in the university, and he's just, he just getting started. He doesn't know much. So for me, for example, learning HTML and learning the basic tag, for me, it might be something that is nothing. But for him or someone like him, who doesn't know anything, all of this information could be like gold mine if you tell them. So anything that you know, if you write it, it could be valuable to some other people. So you have to be building. So you have to be like sharing what you know. And then the contribution, it doesn't have to be just like your own project. It doesn't have to be like a full-blown big application that you build. It could be like making your own project is one of the use cases, but you can also like open a pull request in other projects. And as I said, the first thing that my initial contribution was the documentation updates. As I said, I would just go take the docs, put it on Grammarly, fix the typos, and just open a pull request in there. And for me, for example, in my projects, if someone opens a fix in the documentation or the README, I think it is more important for me. I'm more happy to accept these changes than, more excited about this, because this stuff, the documentation and the READMEs, people don't normally care about this. So people look at the code, and most of the people care about that. So start with the documentation fixes, like update the documentation, update the README if it is outdated and stuff like that. So it could be documentation in that also. Then you look at the issues. So look at the open the issues, look at the open issues, look at the tags. So most of the people, they tag their issues like first timers only, or for example, good first issue. So these could be the good starting point. So look at these issues, pick from there, and then just open a pull request in that. And again, you have to be very picky with the projects that you pick for the contribution. The beginners could be discouraged. So if you pick a project and then you open a pull request and the owner doesn't accept the pull request, it could be like devastating for you. So you have to be very picky in that. So you pick a pull request, pick a project that is active. You make sure that the contributor is active, he is accepting the pull request, and then you open a pull request. And then you can also submit the issues. So if you found any issue, you submit that. You can also answer the issues. This is a way of contribution as well. So if you know something, for example, if I know React and someone opened an issue in there, I can go and answer this person. So this could be a good contribution as well. So that to save the contributor some time, so you could be the person answering these issues. Also, like thanking the contributor, I get so many thanks emails for the roadmap, and I am really thankful to the people, because I think this motivates the contributor by himself also to put more time into it. So I think thanking is also one way of the contributing to the project also. And then spreading the word also. If you like it, just tell people about it. And this is how you get started with with the open source.
First thing Kamran told me when I reached him, we are hiring in TradeLink. That's so that was amazing that you really get to know that people like building that kind of friendship. That's like in a short time. That's just
okay. On this one, like we're hiring in TradeLink. So when you're hiring, what you do, you reach out to the people you know, or the people who are active in the community. For example, Sako reached out to me. I didn't even talk to him technically. I still knew that he would be good. Why did I know that? Because he would be good. I knew he would be good because he was into the open source. He was into the community. He was trying something to, help people. If you do that, you're already in the top 10%, because 90% of the developer, they don't do the community work. They don't do the meetups. They don't join the meetups. All of you people, like, how many, like 45 people of you who are here. You're here, it already puts you in the top 10%, because 90% of the people, they don't care about this stuff. They do 9 to 6 and go home, watch movies, do the Netflix, and that's it. So I think this is also for the career perspective also. If you're looking for jobs, this could be also really good. So for me, for example, if I have to look for a job now, what I would do is, for example, go to, for example, if I want to target Amsterdam, or for example, whatever, like Germany, I would go to the GitHub organizations. For example, I am really interested in what HelloFresh is doing. I would look at the open source projects, maybe send a pull request to them. And once my pull requests are accepted or something, I would just reach out to them like, I've been contributing to your projects. I'm really looking for a job. If you have something open, you already know me from my work, and I would be happy to join. You could do something like this. There are ways that you can use open source to target the companies as well, for a job as well. And for me also, like, open source has been really helpful in my career as well. Most of my jobs have been not with the interviews and the formal coding challenges, and it has been with the network and the people I knew. So I think it's really beneficial for the job market as well if you do open source work. Then how to get started?
It's also just one addition that, and also if you're active in open source and stuff, that's one of the first thing I check also. When like they starts, then you go to the account and you dig into and see that this guy activity and the project, and sometimes you find something useful and say, oh wow, this guy is also have this kind of project. That's also,
yeah,
it's easy to track rather than just having resume and just having the buzzwords there.
Yeah, because for example, if I tell you about our use case of the way, for example, we get, whenever we open a job, whenever we put something in the job on LinkedIn or somewhere, we get around like 10,000 applicants, because a lot of people here are expats. So they open a lot of, they submit their applications. A lot of people who submit applications are not even relevant to the job that we have. If you have a GitHub, not many people have. We look at the GitHub, and this could be a really good indicator for shortlisting the candidates also. So this is like how you can, why you should be doing open source and how you can start. And now some tips from me, like how you can get started with the open source. So you should always have a side project. So I make sure to always have this. So let me show you my current project, just to, So the good thing about open source is, you're not bound to what you know. For example, if you are hired as a backend developer or a front-end developer, you don't have to be doing stuff. In the company, it is really difficult to, tell them to put you in some other team, because they want to get from you what your expertise are. So as a side project and stuff like that, they help you to explore the areas that you don't have any, expertise in. So this is, I said that I always have a side project. So my most recent was Automate, and this is the one that I'm building. I'm not a designer. I'm a full stack developer who's doing backend and frontend. So this is a good thing for me also to do to explore the design also. So I'm building this for myself, because whenever I have something to work on, I want to track on what I'm working on, what is the stuff that I have to do. So for this, I tried to look for the projects. I wasn't able to find something that allowed me to track the progress and the task as well. So this is like mixed with the productivity tracking and the tasks. So this is that. And the next thing is like, how do you contribute to the existing project? So first thing is finding a project. And how do you find a project? Go to the GitHub and search for the projects. So what I normally do is like look at the trending page. So GitHub has a page called trending where they show you all the top, like most art projects. So you look at that. So you find the projects that interest you, the projects that are active, and then you do the short listing, like I'm going to contribute to this. Like then you pick up like what you're going to contribute. The first thing is the documentation or the README, the easiest thing. And then you like how to contribute, then you go through the documentation, you look at the contribution docs, you look at the setup guide, you set up the project, you do your changes, and then you open a pull request. This is all that you have for the contributing to existing projects. Making your own project, I think this is more important, and I think this could be more beneficial in the long run than contributing. Contributing is really good. It is really helpful also for your growth, but making your own project, I think this is really something that helps you learn much more than when you are contributing to the existing project. So picking up an idea, how do you pick up an idea? So picking up an idea, so you don't have to just go and search for ideas like what I'm going to build. So you can just have an idea board. So have a Trello board or something. Whenever you have some idea, just putting it there. No matter how stupid it is, just keep putting your ideas in there. And whenever you have some time, you can pick from there and start working on it. So this is my idea board. I will maybe share them on the GitHub. So whenever I have something, I just keep putting them there. And whenever I have time, I just pick it from there and I just start building.
Come on, there's so many. Do you pair with somebody, or mainly you just pick yourself and you like that from the everything end-to-end building?
So if you look at, I have the backlog, and I have the to-do, I have the open source, I have promising. So everything that I have, it goes to the backlog. And then if I see that it is something that could be useful or something I want to build, I put this in the promising. And if it is something that I want to do after the good, but not really that good, then I put this on the like to do. And then open source is like anything that I want to do for the open source. You should always have something like this. So because you are always having the ideas, like for example, whenever you're doing something that is mindless, for example, you're taking a shower, you're driving, or you're walking, you can keep thinking and you can keep coming up with the ideas and you can keep dumping them in this idea board, and then you can pick them whenever you have time. The important thing is like listing them somewhere, because when you have time, I might not have time now, but I might have time later on. Whenever I have time, I can just pick it from there. So this is like when you get the idea right now. The second thing is like, how do you come up with the ideas? Coming up with the ideas is you have to look at your daily work. So for example, I am working in a job, and I see that something that I'm building, it could be useful for others also. I could publish it as a project. I just take it from there on my weekend or something like that. I work on it, I polish it, and then I just put it on GitHub. So this is how also you can come up with ideas. So one of my project, Express API problem, for example, this is one of the examples of this. So this was mainly took from the work. So we are building a lot of APIs. So there's something called Express API problem specification from the IETF. So what they do is they have sketched out like how your exceptions should be. Like if you have a problem in the API response, how you should format the response that you have. So this is that we were building at the office in the company, and I thought that it could be useful for others also. This is not just us. I mean, a lot of people are building APIs, right? So people can use from it. So I just took it from there, and I'm not took it, but I mean, because that was built for our use case. So I built it in my own free time. So there's also how you can come up with the ideas. Look at your day job and pick something that you think can be useful for others. So this is one other use case that you have. So looking at your day job, having an idea board. So these are the two ways. The third way is you be active in the community. So if you look at my new tab, I have this product hunt. So if you don't know already, product hunt, so product hunt is about like people share their projects, whatever they're building. So every day people post stuff what they're building, and then there is rating from top to bottom. So you look at this, and a lot of the times I get the spin-off idea from one of these projects. So this is also, I think for roadmap also, I came up here also, like about making the website roadmap.sh. It was mainly a repository. It was not a project. It was mainly on GitHub. I did not have it on as a website. I think this also I came up from one of the projects here. I think I saw some project who was doing a MakerPad, maybe, I'm not sure. I saw some project and I thought that why don't I just build this for the developers. So this is how I came up with the idea. So having the idea board, looking at your day job and looking at the community, what people are building, for example, looking at product, looking at the news hacker. So this is what I do also. So here, if you look at the show HN, so this is what people are building. So looking at this, you can also like get the spin-off ideas. So you don't have to build the same thing, but you can get the ideas from here. So this is one other thing, looking at the news hacker. One more thing that you can do is, if you really are looking for ideas, but you don't know what to build, then you go to the projects, like go to the GitHub. For example, if you're a JavaScript developer or a PHP developer, and you want to build something, and you're not working with Ruby, right? So Ruby has some really famous project that does not exist in PHP or JavaScript. So you can pick that project and translate it into your own language also. So this could be also like one of the ideas. So this is how you build the ideas, how you pick the idea and how you work on that. The second thing is how to find time. So this is really important. This is the excuse that many people have. I think like the problem of the many people is they pick something really big and then they start working on it like on and off, and they never get to finish it. The important thing is like picking the idea and making sure that you finish it. So start with the small ideas, set some time, and don't set a goal. So for example, whenever I pick a project, I don't say that I am going to finish it by the end of this month. Instead of that, I just say is like I'm going to spend 1 hour like every day. So instead of like setting a deadline, set yourself some time. Like I'm going to work 1 hour every day, or for example 2 hours a week on this project, and do that time. I mean, that time just do the project, do this work, and don't like focus on the deadline too much. Focus on the time that you have set aside. So this is also my second tip for finding time, like setting aside some time, no matter how little it is, and work on that and just build. Okay, you build something. Once you have built something, it might, I mean, there are 99% chances that nobody will find out. Nobody will care about the project. If you don't tell people about it, nobody cares like what you have built. I mean, if I build something and I just keep in my GitHub profile, I mean, people will definitely not know about it. So build something and tell people. How do you tell people? So you go and post on Reddit. So if you go on Reddit, if you don't already know, there are many really useful subreddits that I normally follow also. If you look at, let me boast also about my karma. I have 44,000 karma here. So if you look at it, there are really really good subreddits where people are posting daily about the stuff that they're building. So the subreddit that I follow, there's programming, reddit.com/r/programming. So people are posting here daily, like what they have been building or whatever they found useful on the internet they share here. So find a couple of Reddits. There are subreddits for JavaScript, PHP, programming, software engineering, or whatever your idea is, open source or entrepreneurship or whatever it is. There are subreddits for that, and people are quite active in that. So 177 comments, and let me show you like the power of this. I think it is really powerful in bringing traction to your project also. So for example, if I show you the developer roadmap, So most of the traffic that I have, it is coming from here.
Xin camera unit camera Ahmed say. I know your.
Ah, yeah, sorry. So for my projects, if you look at this, so 1.5K upwards. So a lot of people are posting every day. If I show you the most recent one. So this one
I
was
didn't know
16
that
days.
Reddit has this. Nice.
No, you can search by the link. So this is how I look at my projects. So if I show you the top one, so a lot of times it has hit these, like the subreddits on the top, and this is how most of the traffic is coming. Like people keep sharing, like every other day they keep sharing here, and a lot of people like pick it up from here, and they just, I mean, they share it with the friends of the people that they know, and it just grows from there. So this is one, and the second thing is the news hacker, the hacker news. So if your project hit the front page of this, the traffic is going to be like massive. If you go to the Reddit, or I mean, if it hits the Reddit front page or the news hacker front page, it is going to bring you a lot of traction to your project.
But for
So
hacker
for
news, how you make it, Kamran? Do you have to submit or?
It's really difficult. I mean, getting your project there, it's not going to happen in like 90% of the 99% of the time. You're going to post something here, it is not going to be coming onto the front page. It is really difficult because people here are really picky with what comes to the front page. I was lucky enough to have my projects because I posted them. If I show you my profile, whenever I build something, I mean, most of the time it doesn't come up. Like see 2 points, 4 points, 9 points, 3 points, 1 points. I mean, it's really difficult to get to the front page. But some of the times, like this developer roadmap, it got to 130 points, it came to the front page. So there are many points when someone else posted it and it got to the front page. And this is how, I mean, see 261 points, 255 points, 130 points. I mean, it happened a lot of the times when someone else posted it.
Who's pointing it? Is it manual? Somebody's pointing, or the number of clicks it's increased?
No, they post the link and then people click and then just they go to the project. For example, if I show you,
so basically more people has to click on that it keep going the points up.
Yes, they click on that upvote comment. So they have really, I mean, interesting algorithm that they use. So for example, this one, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, look at he posted one 3 days ago, 2 days ago. I mean, look at the views. So most of the projects, if I show you the traffic that I have on the developer roadmap, it is from these websites, News Hacker, Reddit, and for example, put it on Medium. Haber is like the Russian version of the Medium. So most of the traffic is from there. The point is, if you don't tell people, nobody cares about what you have built, no matter how awesome it is. You have to tell people. So you post on Reddit, post on News Hacker, post on Lobsters, tweet about it, share it on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is something that I mean, I cringe whenever I post something there because most of the people there are the business people. They don't care about the developer stuff. I mean, the developer community is not there, but still, I mean, there are developers there. If you post something, if someone likes, it gets shared to all their network also. And if someone likes, then it keeps sharing. So there's a lot of traffic that comes from there also. So that's why, I mean, post it on LinkedIn also, even though they are business people or whatever is there. So this is on the telling people. Okay, what have I learned from all this time, like of the open source and this stuff? So, I mean, this is the stuff about telling people and about the tips that I shared with you. Other than that, maintaining is greater than contributing. For the maintaining, like if you're a contributor to some project, you do like 1 or 2 contributions. You don't own the project. Someone else owns the project. You don't get to make the decisions. You don't get to decide what is going to be merged, what is not going to be merged, and so on. You don't get to prioritize on the features. If you are the contributor, you own the project. If you maintain the project, you own the project, and you get to decide all of this stuff. I mean, you are the entrepreneur in your own self. So maintaining is better than the contributing. So I would recommend to you, I mean, if you have ideas, if you have time, do contribute, but also build your own projects. The second thing is you will always be embarrassed of your code. This is also one of the excuses that people have when you talk to them about the open source. When I talk to my friends, they mostly say that my code is really bad. I don't want to put it on GitHub, and someone will come and they will see that my code is really bad. So it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, all the projects that I have, there's not a single project that I would say like this is my best work. I mean, there's always learning. You go and you learn every day. I mean, the stuff that you're doing today after 1 month, you might be thinking that it's really the opposite way of doing things. So you will always be embarrassed no matter what. Always just, push stuff. No matter how bad it is, just put it on GitHub. You might be overwhelmed by the issue backlog. So when you have some famous project, people are going to open issues and they're going to keep piling up. So if I show you the roadmap.sh, it is right now, it's 38, it's not many, but the developer roadmap, when I built it, it had around 403 issues. So you will not have time to go through all of them. So it's fine. You have, as the owner of the project, you have to prioritize what you're going to work on. So don't get overwhelmed. It's also, when you build something and someone opens an issue, you have them in the back of your head. You know that you have to get back to it. But you don't have to be, thinking about it all the time. You are the owner of the project and you have to prioritize what is going to be involved in the project, what is going to be prioritized, and so on. And there might be flame wars. Whenever you build something, a lot of people are going to come and they're going to say stupid things and they're going to fight with you on the project. For example, I'm building this developer roadmap. Whenever I have something, it is really opinionated. I think I have put what I want, or what I see is more important, and I have prioritized in that way. People come and they post like, why don't you have this thing in there? Why don't you have that thing in there? I've been working in this, that's quite famous. I want it to be there. And people will fight with you all the time in your issues on your projects if it got famous. So, you have to learn how to tackle these, how to tackle the trolls and how to get the actual feedback. So you have to learn how to do that. The next thing is the empathy and respect. When someone opens a pull request in your project, they have definitely spent their time and they give you time and they put the effort into open a pull request. So you have to make sure that, you have to empathize with them. And if they did something wrong, if they did something bad, tell them, like teach them or something like that. So this also, I think, one of my learnings. Make yourself happy first. As I said, you will never be happy with the project. You will never be happy with the code base that you have. You will never be happy with the issues that you have. So you have to make sure that you are happy. You have to know what is right, what is wrong, and you have to decide. If you don't want to work on something, you don't have to. And the next thing is don't be all alone. So pick a contributor. So always have a contributor. If you're not going to do everything all alone. So for example, if I don't know DevOps, I am not really good into the DevOps. I'm good into the full stack, front end and back end. But for DevOps, I might need some help from some people. So I have contributors who are contributing to this project. So you can have collaborators as well. And the last and the most important thing is that don't take the negative feedback to the heart. Whenever you're going to post something on the Reddit or NewsHacker, there are definitely going to be people who are going to say stupid things. They're going to troll you. They're going to say like, what are stupid things that you have built or whatever it is. I know it from my experience because in the beginning, I was open source. I was doing the open source. I just started. I didn't know how to do, coding. My code base was really bad and all of this stuff. And whenever I used to post something on Reddit or somewhere like that, people will just comment, and they will just give you negative feedback. And they could be something to put you off as the beginners. If you are doing that, stop doing that. And if someone does that for you, just don't take it to your heart. And this I mentioned already, like how do you stay up to date and how do you look for the ideas? These are some of the links that you can follow. There's Reddit, there's Hacker News, there's Lobsters, Twitter, and then GitHub training page. That's it from me.
Amazing. I think there are a lot of great stuff, especially when we are here in different parts of the world. Even if you had deal with it, that's definitely, there are so many new things to learn. So I guess let's take 5-minute break. Now it's 1:30, 1:35. Let's come back and do interaction. It's amazing job, Cameron. Thank you so much. Yeah, 5 minutes, guys.
Thank you, Cameron.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wish I knew all these things in 2000 because we posted one of our infrastructure management project open source. Yeah, we just killed it. We just killed it after like 2 years. Because at that time there was no GitHub. There was like SourceForge, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember. Before GitHub, there used to be SourceForge.
Yeah, SourceForge. We use SourceForge.
But GitHub, I mean, GitHub is really good. They have given you a platform. You get to meet a lot of these interesting people, amazing people, without anything. I mean, you get to be them. I mean, you can know, for example, if you, Linus Torvalds is your role model, you can go and interact with him on his project. I mean, anybody you know that you're inspired from, you can just go and talk to them on GitHub. Yep,
which is amazing. And plus marketing part was like, this was actually the question that I wanted to ask you, that how do you recommend to market? But you have told everything about it. Because in our case, we just posted and expected people will start contribute. Nobody did.
Okay, Gary, let's give short 3 more minutes break. Let's people, because otherwise you will not, we want to listen all, catch all the points. Yeah, let's come back in 35. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Recording. So, yeah. Amazing. So again, thanks so much, Cameron. And I would say let me check if you guys posted any questions we have. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, do you want Cameron to share in case also that to read the questions?
Yes, sure.
It's in the Word document. There are, 3 questions. And I would like just before we go to break that Gary was mentioning, I wish I knew that. I want to +1 on that because there are 2 things I regretted, Gary, also. One was open source, one was a stock market, to know that I think we are really get to know about this late in the career. Otherwise, that we could be much in better place. That was the reason that the project like this and GOUP, and we are trying to, that for the people not to come to the point that we came at this point of the time.
It might be a good time for stock, by the way. Stocks are down, so. Yeah,
that's the time I started dealing with stock, and I learned a lot, marketing, selling, and like playing with numbers. It's already, I think.
I never got into that, into the stock and stuff. Is it that good?
Especially what I like, the news coming, the company taking some decision and how it's affecting the stock market. I like the learning experience. They make that decision, it happened. For example, Tesla, they did something, they opened, and then stock market would go high. If he did something stupid, Zoom, for example, there was security issue in Zoom stock went down. That's, all these stuff you learn correlating. It's not about making money or not, but more if you want to later build a startup and stuff. That's this kind of correlation I find.
Stock is about making money, dude. Stock is all about making money. There's like nothing else about it, trust me.
Shahriar, do you have any source for reading or for something for learning this stuff, stock
market? So
yeah,
the best way, I think, to lose money by learning and making money.
It's really not about making money, learning first.
Yeah, learning, I think in Udemy, I bought one course. I didn't completely check, but I have a friend, he bought Tesla and all this stuff based on the stock money. I'm mainly learning, talking by him. So I think the person who is already has some experience, if you know some friends, that would be, I'm not the right person because I also started dealing mainly during that time, but so that's, find somebody like Kamran in stock market and then learn from him. That would be my advice. So
Kamran said he will talk about something, so we will listen.
Yeah.
We are here to listen.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, Kamran. So guys, we are, that's amazing. We have a number of people, 36, that's great. That it means interactivity, we can go up, because if the numbers go higher, we couldn't make it. That's why we decided also to write, but you're free to turn on your camera, ask us a question you wrote, and talk, like, yeah, please, yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Oh my God, amazing. Then the people, yeah, that's really nice. Yes, yeah, South Korea, Pakistan, Kazakhstan. Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Oh, especially the people from Kazakhstan, you are all free to come, and also like the GOBAs, the stuff we have, the experience, you're free. Everything we put in the GitHub, all the slides, PPT, all this meeting, pre, during, post event, all these gonna share. We referred all these our slides they give from the Google workshop. So we are going to the high end, whatever best we find, we try and add on top of it and then do open source. So we don't want to they do the same work. So just in case you need any help, any support, just come and talk to us as well.
Jaco, I have a very interesting idea. Maybe people write in the chat your countries. So
they're writing.
Yes, for example, USA, Azerbaijan.
Yeah, they're writing in the Word document. That's where I see the.
Ah, okay.
What are we waiting for? Shalia?
I think Kamran should. You can start taking the question. People start writing the question. I guess Kamran, whenever you want, you can start going through.
Sure.
Yeah.
So first of all, Sako, how separate time for open source and full-time job? As I said, I mean, if you have some interesting idea, you can just set aside some time. Don't have a deadline. Have some time, like focus time. I'm going to work like half an hour every day, or like I'm going to work 2 hours on the weekend or whatever. So this is how I find time. Like I have set aside time, like on the weekends, I have to spend 3 hours on this or 2 hours on this. And this is how you find time.
But how about let's say if you have the team meeting and like usually if you have 5-6 people in the team, that's for me like I have the job packs that the one we were working as a school open source project. So frequently was the issue when you are in a team. Sometimes to keep asking people to do the work is easier if you go do it. Did you have this kind of experience, and what was your way of interacting with this?
In the open source, I never had this. I mean, open source is mostly, I mean, as a maintainer, it's my responsibility to do something. I mean, I never built something with, I mean, that is open source or public, like a business stuff or whatever, with someone. So right now it's mostly me or with my brothers. Other than that, I think, I mean, if you're talking about work, then it's mainly lead by example. I mean, you have to show the leadership and you have to, I mean, put yourself out there first and then ask the others to do the same.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Second is from Shahryar. How can I find the right open source project for my level? As I said, I think it depends. I covered that during the presentation also. I think it depends upon the level. So first of all, if you're a beginner or, I mean, whoever you are, not the beginner, you have to go through the GitHub, make sure that the project is active. The contributor or the owner of the project maintainer is active to open the, like merge the pull request. He's replying to the issues and stuff like that. And once you find the active project, and then you can just pick a project. And for looking project, I gave some ideas in the slides also. Other than that, I mean, go to the trending page and look at this one also. I mean, look at the projects. For example, if you're interested in JavaScript or you're interested in PHP or whatever it is, go here and pick an idea from there. Or, for example, if you are using something on a daily basis and you see that it has a shortcoming or it's something that can be improved, go and contribute to that. And I mean, this is how you find the project for contribution. Mainly GitHub, this is how I find project for contribution. Go to the GitHub, find the language of your choice and look at the projects and make sure that the project is active. The other thing is in the issues. I don't know how to find, like find good first tag issue. So most of the people, they tag GitHub issues with the good first issue. This one topic. So this is a tag where people, I mean, there are only issues which can be picked up by the people who are new to a project. And you can go and look at that and pick projects from there, pick the issues that you think you can do. This is how you mainly, how you can find. So trending, filter by language, look at the projects that you know or use, and then this link. Good first issue, or I think there's also first timers only. There's also, good. So look at this or trending or your projects that you're using. This is how you can find the projects to contribute. Does that answer your question, Shahriar? Okay, I think we're good. So the next thing is
Please don't be shy. Just as I say, it's friendly environment. Just turn on your microphone if you can speak and just
Okay, the next thing is Tawqir. How do you launch open source a project and how do you reach the audience? I think I shared this also in the presentation. So find a time, stick to it. Don't have a deadline. Have a specific time that you're going to work on. Just keep working on that, and then tell people. How do you tell people? Post on Reddit, post on NewsHacker, Hacker News, post on Twitter, LinkedIn, post or whatever you have, and then tell people about the project.
And I also have addition coming up for that. That's exactly why we launched the GOUP, that people without the community, if you want to test, you can come, you can take ownership in GitHub, our Zoom, YouTube, and Slack. You can have channel everything, so you can start getting in short time. So kind of open source acceleration if you think that it's gonna be hassle and take more time. So if you are free, you can go and we will try to guide you.
I think that's a good point. Also for Shahriar, he mentioned how to find the right side project. For example, Sako and these guys, they're open to accept the beginners, right? They can guide you also, so you can contribute to the projects that they have on GoPass and start from there.
Yeah, even you want to start under your name, we are more than happy to share, guide you, because we had this issue, we had this inexperience. We don't want to other people have it, so just thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm currently working on an idea which is a CLI tool for Swagger. I know Tawqir. He's my work fellow. I'm currently working on an idea which is a CLI tool for Swagger. Man, you can ask me in person also. Okay, I'm trying to solve my own problem. So I want to open source it. How can I do that properly so that I get some contributions as well? So when you build something for yourself, I think it might not get contributions because it is really specific to your use case. But if it is useful to some other people, I think by telling people, you are inviting also. Like when you post some stuff on NewsHacker, Reddit and stuff like that, people are going to, it is up to them to contribute. So open some issues, tag them properly, like first timers only or good first issue or something like that, and then people will come from there. Okay, good. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about the importance of blogging in building professional profile or brand alongside contributing to open source? Generally, what are the most important factors for building successful? For that, I think blogging is really, blogging is the easy way to go that way. If you want to build your personal brand, in my experience, I have seen people, building something that is open source and getting people to know that, to find you from the open source project and to know you from that, it is really difficult. You have to build something that is really good for people to like your project and then to know you. But blogging is something that is really easy. This is the easy way to go. So whatever you know, just keep sharing that. And then Google helps you. If you have some good SEO, people are going to find your project or your blog post that you have, and then they're going to come to you. For example, my blog post, I have a blog. I haven't maintained it after since last 2 years. I was mostly writing about the stuff that I used to do at work and stuff like that. And still, it gets around 600 to 700 visitors per day, which is not a lot, but for something that I have built, it's really good. And I think it has helped me in building up my Twitter followership. So when you share something for people, it definitely brings you the followers. So this blogging, I think, is really helpful in building your own brand than the open source projects. I mean, the easier one.
Especially, I would like to also add that we have in the work like engineering blogs in each company. It's really companies kind of really good for the recruitment purpose. They usually ask that when they want to hire, they usually send the engineering blog and the tech stack that you mentioned there. And usually if there is some code that you can't open source, but you can still write blog about it, how you did it, and you can share. That's also one of the things I usually face at work.
So for the blog post ideas, so this, I think blog post ideas also from you can find from your daily work. You can document what you're doing and stuff like that. For example, if I show you, I mentioned about the driver.js. So this was my open source project, and I mentioned like how I did it. So this is that, like how I find ideas, how I started building it, and stuff like that. I documented all of my process there. So I mean, this is one thing that you can do. The second thing is like work. So for example, at work, we're using RabbitMQ a lot. So I mentioned like how we did it, how we started from zero and how we got to where we are in the RabbitMQ. So this is that. The third thing is if you want to document your learnings. So this is, I documented on that. For example, DNS, like how it works. I wanted to document that. So I blogged about that. So you can pick up an idea. I mean, blogging is the easiest, I mean, lowest effort if you compare it with the building the open source project. So I would definitely suggest you to do the blog, have a blog and start blogging.
Thank you.
And the next thing is you showed projects which are earning 60K, are they paying contributors? So I think the projects that they have that we saw, like most of the projects, like open source projects, when they get to that point, if I show you the Sidekick, they don't stay with the open source model in that way. Like they are not making money from the project itself. So this is the community version. So this person, he has the license. So this person is making like $80,000 per month. If you look at the license, so he has the community license and the license that is the other one. So the community version is what, I mean, the people are contributing and people are building. So this is for free for everyone still. But the pro version, this is what he's making money from. Like the time that he's spending on adding the features by himself. So this is what is the paid version. So this is on that. I mean, there are different models for making money from the open source. So people normally have the community version and the pro version. So pro version is the one that is maintained by themselves. And this is how they are making money. But also there's, I mean, if you look at the Open Collective, the Open Collective is something that people use for funding their open source projects. So you can put your project there and people can start paying you. So these guys, they have a budget and then they pay the contributors as well. So this, for example, this is the money that they're making from open source. And these are the contributors to the project. And they do pay to the developers also, like who open a pull request or whatever it is. So this is the different models for the like the payments. Anything else?
What's Open Collective? What was again? That's
Open Collective. Yeah. So now GitHub added the sponsors as well, but it is not available in most of the companies, most of the countries.
Yeah, I activated it for GOUP. I think it was in US. Also,
yeah, I think it is there in US. But yeah, look at this. So it is not available in most of the countries.
Okay.
So this is the alternative to this one, Open Collective. So you can put your project in there and you can have a link on your GitHub.
Oh.
And then people can just start contributing and paying you on this. And then they have like this person paid you this much and stuff like that. So this is a person that I know I have been working with, Chakra. I think he's using Open Collective. And people are paying him from there. I mean, $10 per month and stuff like that. I mean, people are making, there are different ways to make money from the open source. And there's one of the ways. Or you can also put the PayPal link in the sponsors and people can start paying you. Okay, it's freelancing versus open source. I think it depends upon the priorities. If you need money and if you are, I mean, making money is your, most important thing. I think freelance is the way to go. I mean, open source doesn't pay you that much. I mean, it's not really easy to make money from the open source. So, I mean, it depends upon your priorities. If your priority is to make money, then definitely go with the freelance. But if you want to like learn and be more active in the community, make a brand for yourself, and then go with the open source.
I think it's more of for what Kamran says, more long-term career. It doesn't mean you should do as a freelancer or open source. You can do both. It's just you have to also get maintained and get eat stuff, and that's why you can still do freelancing or get full-time job. Meanwhile, for long-term career, building friendship, doing something later bigger, it's open source.
For me, for example, for me, I am working. I have salary. I don't have any need for that some extra money, so I don't really need to do that. So in that case, for me, I am putting my stuff in the open source. I'm putting my time in the open source, like building my own personal brand or getting to know people. I think this is going to be helpful in the long run. So that's why I do open source more than the freelancing that I do. Why do most software engineers go for Mac? Actually, they go for Linux, not for Mac. So they have the Unix. So that's why, my company gave me Mac, but I would have not gone for the Mac because, most of the people, Linux is cheaper. So they go with Linux, or they mainly, I think, go with the Linux because not for the Mac, Linux or Unix, not for the Mac itself. But I think the Mac is really good in performance as well. I mean, I can open 100 things and it would still not slow down. I think performance is the important factor in that. How can you verify that the project you just started will hit the top beforehand? Any online training ideas platform? You have no way to know that. So for example, for me, when I build something, I don't even think about the stars. I mean, in the beginning, when I was building something, in the beginning when I did not have stars, I used to think about this stuff a lot. Whenever I was building, I was thinking more about the stars than building for my own sake. But then I found out that I'm building mainly for this stuff than for my own self. But now when I build something, I mainly do it for myself. I mean, I think it comes a point when you get some stars, you will see that stars mean nothing. I mean, what means is your own satisfaction. But I mean, there's no way for you to know beforehand, like you're going to make something that is going to hit the top. Just build something and put it out there and let people know about it, and then you may hit the top.
I also want to add on this, Cameron, that I frequently see that people come and they do something, they want result immediately.
Yeah.
That's not the way it works. Result and time is not linearly dependent.
Exactly.
You may just spend time and you may not get results. So it's not linearly dependent. Just be patient and consistently keep doing the work. That's
it might take some time. It doesn't have to be like immediately. Let me show you if I have it here. Yeah, this is my old profile. I was going to put it in the slide, but I didn't put it. So if you look at this, these were some of my old projects, like JQD Toast Plugin. It has 59 stars. This is when I started posting, like when I started telling people, I put it on Reddit, on Hacker News and stuff like that. This is when I started getting the stars. But still, I mean, it was not, it stayed there like 59 or 60. But now if you search for JQD Toast Plugin, now it has around 1,100 stars. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be immediate. It might take some time, but people will eventually come there. So don't be hasty. Don't be let down. You put your time into it and you just want the immediate results. It might take some time, but if it is useful, then people will definitely come.
Even in Nginx, like it was started by Igor Sisev, I think. It was 2001 and stuff. So in the end, after 20 years, in 2004, after 15 years, it sold to F5 to $760 million. So
yeah,
if you see the time range, it's like in 10, 15 years, it may pay off.
Also, I think you should not have a goal of like getting the stars or whatever. Like have some other goals. For example, I want to build this to help people. I want to build this, for example, I want to know this many people. I want to build this because I want to learn this stuff that I don't know. I want to build this because I want to improve my skill set. So have the goals like this more. I think this is more important than having the stars. So you should, I mean, have that in mind.
And I think also, Cameron, you forget to mention developer roadmap, how it create. I think you know you were telling that for the professor, it was initial ask, and then based on that.
I didn't hear you quite.
Can you hear? So
yes.
For the developer roadmap, where it triggered you, that maybe don't think. Yeah.
Yes. So for me, yeah, developer roadmap also in the beginning, it was not this popular. I mean, now it is among the top like 12 repositories on GitHub. But at that time, it was just, I built this because I wanted to, because my professor, he had something, he wanted something to share with his college students, like how they want, how they would learn if they want to learn, like what are the things that they should learn about. So this is how I built. I mean, in the beginning, it was just built for these people, for these students. And this is the older version that I had. And not many people cared. It was built because mainly for these people. And then out of these people, I mean, word of mouth, and these people, they started telling other people, their friends, and their friends started telling their friends, and so on and on. And then somebody posted on NewsHacker and Reddit and stuff like that. And this is how it got picked up. Is this what you meant, Sako?
Yeah, that's the initial ask came from your professor, and then you said, okay, I want also, maybe somebody also will like. So
yeah,
we also did as a school project. So whatever you do, it's in school and stuff, just think about maybe somebody else also will need. So just put it out there.
Yeah, even if you're a student, I mean, put your assignments also. I mean, who cares? I mean, this is for you. No matter whatever you have on your GitHub profile, you're putting it. It's fine. I mean, on my GitHub profile, there are a lot of stupid projects also, which are not that famous. I mean, they have their purpose. I mean, find a purpose. Like, what is the purpose of this project? Do I want to make it something that is really big or famous or whatever? Or do I want to something to help other people or learn from it? Or what is the goal? Have a goal and work on that. I think that is more important than having a top open source project or whatever. Okay, the next thing, how much do you use advanced algorithms and data structures in your daily tasks? Yeah, I think this is important because most of the companies, when they interview people, they ask you like the stuff. Actually, I have a tweet about it. I will not be able to find it, but still. I mean, they ask you stuff that is not relevant to you. This is not how I interview people. I mean, people should interview based on what what the job is going to be. So for example, if you're going to fix some forms or make some HTML pages, I mean, you're not going to use this stuff daily. I mean, this is helpful to have. I mean, data structure is really important. I think it is really important to learn data structures, and you should have them. And algorithms also is important to have them. I mean, they help you become a better developer. But like going really deep into the computer science theory and this stuff, I think practical is more important than the theoretical knowledge that you're going to gain.
We also, to keep it more collaborative, I just shared also the Excel. So like people coming, we put in Excel just to keep motivated from the lead code side, like to keep the progress. Currently we have 203. The exercise was done by 15 people joined. So in case you are having hard time to find the motivation, you can also put your work there. So just people will see and just kind of, yeah.
I think data structures and algorithms are really important, and you should know them. But like going crazy with the lead code and stuff like that, I think it is. I mean, a lot of jobs, I mean, they are unfortunately structured in that way. They focus more on the lead code than the actual practical knowledge and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, you should learn them, but don't go crazy with the lead code and stuff like that. But this is really good. I mean, you must actually have the data structures and algorithm knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, how frequently do you use? Yeah, I know it's kind of private for companies to disclose it, but generally, how frequently do you use advanced algorithms in backend, for example?
I think it depends upon the nature of the project. For example, if I'm building, so I'm currently working on the indexer, so like where we take the database records, all the products. So it's a business-to-business platform that we're building, right? So for example, we have millions of products in database. We have to take it from there, iterate them, and sync it into the Elasticsearch. For example, in this case, we definitely have to be mindful about the about the data structures, like how much we are putting this in stuff in the memory, how is the, for example, that like running time is going to be, how it is going to be the space-time complexity and stuff like that. So it depends upon the project. Sometimes, I mean, you're using it a lot. Sometimes, I mean, you're using it a little less than that. But data structure, I think, is really important, and you should know that. But for algorithm, I mean, if you know algorithm, it's good to have. But if you're talking about the algorithms such as Dijkstra or like all these search algorithms, selection sort, and all of this stuff, I mean, you don't use it. I don't use it that much.
I see. Thank you.
Okay, do you know a platform where people to share their needs? What software needs to be built so that the developers can see them and develop them for public use? I don't think there is such platform, but I think indie hackers, they have a platform where you can share. So like people are sharing here, so you can put a new post here and submit like what you want, and other people can see and what they want to pick up. Or you can open also, there's a project, let me show you. No, I mean, a lot of people also do, like they have idea repository and they just put their ideas in there and then people just learn from there. But I think if you are an entrepreneur or something like that, if you're not a developer and if you want someone else to build that, I mean, indie hackers is the way to go. Indie hackers, or for example, go to Reddit and there's this entrepreneur ride along and entrepreneur. I think the subreddits are the way to go. You go and you post there and then people just, I mean, take it from there. I think community, Reddit, indie hackers, or Hacker News. I think these are the platforms.
Thanks.
Okay, how do you manage daily time? How much time did you spend on the system daily? It is right now, because there is Corona, so I stay on the laptop, which is bad, not a good thing. But other than that, I mean, I go at work, I stay at work from whatever, I mean, whenever I finish, I come back, I spend some time for myself, and I spend like daily 1 to 2 hours on my own stuff also. It can be like personal learning, it could be like side project, it could be whatever. And for movies and stuff, I don't do that much Netflix and stuff. I just have time, like I have to do it on the weekend. And not like go crazy with the, so I don't do binge watching and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, that's it. Like daily, I spend more time on myself than on the Netflix and stuff like that, like learning and this stuff.
Then how do you manage burnout risks? Like learning after job, learning.
Yeah, for me, I think actually burnouts, I mean, it is not the case. It might not be the case for everybody, but I think burnout is a sham. I never felt like what is burnout? I mean, I never felt that. I've been doing this for ages. I never had any issues with the burnout and stuff like that. I mean, people say this, but I think for me, I never felt that. I don't even know like what is burnout. How am I going to know? Maybe because I'm interested in this stuff. I like doing it. I don't feel that.
Your machine.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, the people I know also like.
I think just don't think about it as a work or you have to do. I think once you enjoy, I guess, from Cameron and all these kind of, when you're getting fulfilled that you're helping the community and stuff, then I guess that's also help you stress level down. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think don't keep it on don't put it on your mind like this I'm going to do. For me, I do it because I'm interested in doing this stuff. So, I mean, this is the main thing. I mean, don't put it on your mind, and that's it. Do what makes you happy. If you're doing what makes you happy, then you will not be burned out. What's your marriage plan? Who is this? I think this is my brother. But
that's a good question.
That's a good question. You want me to start doing open source? I don't know. I mean, we'll see about that. I don't have any plans right now.
It's the family pressure. That's one of the that's a question frequently, I guess. Also,
I think it's my brother. He's also here in the in the meetup, so I think it's him.
I have
Yes,
one question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
It's about you spoke about so much time creating a new project in the GitHub or something, but I didn't get your experience from contributing to open source project. My question is that, for example, have you experience with the contributing to big projects, for example, as this Docker or Kubernetes or others open source projects?
Yeah.
If you have, then what you get, and if you don't have, why you didn't involve yourself in these projects?
Okay, I mentioned like how I picked the project that I'm going to work on. For me, I think I do the contributions like this also. I have a couple of contributions in the Angular project, but not in React and stuff like that. I'm not that active in the contribution and I mean this stuff, because for me, I think like building something of my own, maintaining is better than the contributing. That's just me. I mean, I just don't go and build stuff just for the sake of building it. I build it to solve my own problem. If I'm having any problem, I build it for that. Or for example, if I have something from the day job that I think can be useful for others, I just put it on there on GitHub. So this is how I pick up the ideas. So for me, I think I don't go crazy with the like go and contribute to React, contribute to this stuff, that stuff. So it's mainly about picking ideas. If you don't have any idea, then you have time, then you should definitely go that way. But for me, I think having something of your own, it is more important for me than contributing to the other projects. But if you want to contribute to other projects like Kubernetes or Angular or React or whatever it is, I think go to the contribution talks, pick an issue that is good for first timers, and then start from there.
Okay, just one second question that how you approach to deep into the big project. For example, you have a big project and you are a newcomer, but you are experienced newcomer, let's say. How you can approach to these big projects? As for example, let's say Linux, you have some Linux kernel and you won't involve yourself in that.
Okay, so for me, the way I do it, there's not, I mean, about open source. It's not just about open source. It's also about work. So for example, when you join a new company, how do you get started? I think it's open source is a bit different because there's no one there to actively support you. But I think the way to go is like, first of all, you look at the documentation, you get the idea about the high level architecture, how the things are built, how the technical decisions have been taken to build the project that you have. Then you, for example, go to the tests, you look at the test suite that they have, and you get the idea about the features from there. And like, for example, if you have some API flows or stuff like that, you go and you learn from there. And once you are done, then you do the debugging, like learn how to use the debugger. So there's the most important thing, like most of the people, they don't do. Like put a breakpoint, for example, start from some entry point and go through the like step by step, like how the debugger is going through the project and look at the workflow. So look at that. I think documentation, test cases, and then debugger, put some breakpoints, and then pick something small and just do that. Like do small bug fixes before you go on to take up some like bigger features or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you so much, Cameron. I think that should be it for the questions. I will just one plus on what Cameron was saying, that pick the problem that resonates you, because you just don't do because you have to do, because then you will just get bored. Because if the problem doesn't resonate you, if you don't face it during your daily job, it's gonna be hard to keep motivation. And I would like also to share, Cameron, if you don't mind, and just for the final beats.
Yeah, so finally, I would just say, I mean, all of this I said, the main takeaway from this is build things and tell people.
Exactly.
I mean, this is the most important thing. I mean, if you don't build, if you're a beginner or if you're experienced or whatever it is, you will just stuck with what you know. If you build, this is how you build. I mean, and don't be bound to what you know. I mean, pick up the projects that you don't know. For example, this iTomate that I built, I didn't know anything about Python. So I just took it because I wanted to try out Python. It's built with Python. I have never worked with Python. This was my first time. And I learned a bunch about like how the Python works. So don't just be bound with what you know. Pick up some ideas that are not relevant to you and just start building. I think that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Cameron. Appreciate and really amazing that all these, as I said, even the people that, yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I think we have a question here. What's your learning pattern? I think I already mentioned it. I mean, learning pattern. I mean, I spend daily, like I make sure, like I have 2 hours for myself on daily basis. Spend it on side project, spend it on learning or whatever it is.
Yeah. I will take
I think this guy wants to ask some links or something. I think that.
Yeah,
this
I
guy
mentioned
wants
in the slides. So you can take it from there, like stay up to date, the slide called staying up to date. And I mentioned all the links in there.
So yeah, I would like just quickly couple final logistic for the project. So I guess for wrapping up, Kamran, what's the best way to reach you would be?
If you have any question, I like getting random questions, random people sending me emails. So feel free to send me the email at my email, or you can reach out to me on Twitter, send me a message, and I will make sure to get back to you.
Amazing. So then we have the feedback form, and please, whatever you like, whatever you dislike, how we can do better. We hopefully will do some serial for open source discussions. And
if you have some feedback, I'll be happy to hear from you as well. Feel free to send it to me also.
Exactly, that's going to be shared, you and with the host and the people. Please just do the feedback. And all these meeting of minutes, all the questions, please go, just let's add each other, and LinkedIn, Twitter mainly will be the sharing. I'm going to share it. It's our response to COVID. Please, I would like to tag you in case. Just find me in LinkedIn, and we will basically just tag. I will tag you, and same will do in the Twitter. And briefly for the GOUP, that what Kamran was telling exactly, all these, if you see project, most of the time it was coming from our needs. For example, we did with TechBrains because in Silicon Valley, all the engineers, we didn't know it was a networking format. We did it, for example, 50 engineers came for 2 hours, we didn't know. So then we did open source, and anybody can take it and duplicate it. That was, for example. So, and zero to hero again, all the project we're gonna put how we did it before the meeting, during the meeting, what went well, what went better we can do, and after the meeting, we're gonna put it as a document. So in case you want to do similar webinar, you can go and just follow step by step and do it. And all this video recording, the slides we will share, Kamran's LinkedIn is here, and yeah, all these we're gonna post in our repo. And we have the question. Usually the people keep asking me the question. It's like bookmark. I use it for me. And if you, before asking question, in case you can come here and find useful links, that's how we track the issues. For example, there were, because I used to have that people, junior level people, especially, I don't know, like Cameron, if they reach you for, especially for the red map related questions, they come up, we say, they keep asking the same question. So what we are doing, I put it once here. The beautiful side in GitHub, I can copy everything has a unique ID. I can copy any of them and just pass to another person. In comparison with Facebook, LinkedIn, if you need to find a post, or it's nightmare. So it's
also a very good website, teachyourselfcs.com.
Yeah.
You might want to put that also.
Yeah, all the chat, teach yourself. Yeah, please put in the chat, all the chat, the links, will copy it on this document, and this document will be sent to PDF and also shared. So as much as whatever you see will gonna be shared. And yeah, and we have algorithm channel. Somebody was asking. We had just simple Excel, we track it like that, people. So if you want these kind of stuff, feel free to join. So as Cameron was mentioning, just reinforcing what he said, that it's coming down based on our needs. What I need, I want to learn algorithm. Okay, let's put Excel there. Let's do it. I want to do some other stuff. let's just come up together and do it. And in the Slack channel, we have the community channel, and then we have the channels. You can come create your channel. Basically, whatever idea you have, we are happy to onboard you, give you YouTube, Slack, Zoom link, GitHub, and you don't have to really start from zero building the community. So, and even you don't want to use any of them, you need the mentorship, you can just join Slack and ask questions, and we will, based on our availability. There are engineers all over the world, and including Kamran is our great friend and partner. And if anything that if you want to relay from to reach to other people, feel free, just ask. So that's, I think, the open source way doing stuff. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Shako. Thank you, Kamran. Thank you, Mr. Garib. Kamran, that's brilliant solution for you. Thank you. I will be next time we see you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Kamran.
All the tech academics. Thank you, Garib. Thank you, Ruslan. Thank you, all the Rami. Thank you, all the guys joining. And please, yeah, as I said, we're gonna go out and tag in case we forget anybody. Just we really think that's a next big thing, and hopefully together as in a collaborative way, we can take it open source to the next level and make a difference.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time, Kamran. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.